All right, do a little live here. First round complete. We'll see who joins. Today's review video, live video, is brought to you by Stella Blue Coffee. Stella Blue Coffee, the best coffee you can get. Also supports the doggies right there, like Stella. Shout out Barstool Big Cat and Pardon My Take for an excellent coffee. They do a good job there. All right, let's see. We'll give it to about a minute 15, a minute 30, and then I'll jump in. Yeah, I know the beard's looking crazy. It's winter, it's cold, keeping the face warm, but I got a haircut tomorrow. The beard's getting taken down big time tomorrow. So don't worry, I'm not homeless or none of that. There's the trophy right there in the background, as you can all see. It's what you're all fighting so hard for. What some of you fought so hard for and fell up short and came up short. I'm sorry, and fell short, came up short. To get your name on the championship trophy. Wow. Only a handful have done it. Only a handful have done it. So shut the fuck up, Theo. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. What the fuck? Why is my Google Chrome be looking like this, huh? Oh, my work block ESPN? No, I got the VPN off. That shouldn't be happening. What the fuck is going on here? Your connection is not private. Okay. Turn that on. Let's go to ESPN now. Now it's secure. We're gonna be fighting if they don't let me get on ESPN. Wow. Interesting. Okay, let's see if we can get it on here. Oh, okay, so it's a Google Chrome thing. Google Chrome thing. Okay, let's log her in. All right, we're good. All right, here we go. Let's open up a scoreboard. Here we go. Let's start off with our. I don't know what matchup to start off with. So two of our games came down to the very last game of the evening. So, but let's start off with our 1 seed versus our 8 seed. Oh, that one came down to it. Actually, let's start off to our one that was decided before yesterday, and that is probably. I mean, technically, it's a seeding wise not an upset because Landon was the 4 seed and Mason was the 5 seed. But in terms of on paper, what the teams looked like, scoring output for the entire season, Mason was definitely the favorite. And I'll tell you what, it ain't often you score 150 points and lose. So let's start off with that. Mason versus Landon. And boy, what a game that was. Landon wins 158 to 150, led by none other than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson put up a 46 spot. up against the Giants. And I mean, let's be honest, my man was padding stats at the end of that game because they had no business fucking throwing the ball. They were already up like 30 points, and my man was still slinging it. He knew, I don't know, Landon must know somebody that knows Lamar, put a little bug in his ear and said, yo, need some points. And he came through. He came through big time. Terry McLaurin had 19. He could have had more. I shared that clip, I think, in the group me. But Terry probably could have had 250 yards and like 4 touchdowns. He had a big day, 19 points. Malik Neighbors had 14 points. In a game where 10 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Tony Pollard found the end zone. Tajay Spears is the one that had all the points, though. Rashad White caught a screen pass for a tutty. Devontae Smith had a monster game. 16 points from the kicker. Listen, kicker, man, I'm telling you what. Y'all got to I think we have this conversation somewhat like this every year, but y'all got to rethink the way you look at your teams in the draft. And what are the players that can get you the easiest points, the most points, the easiest? It's kicker, it's defense, and it's quarterback. That alone, you look at those 3 guys alone for Landon, 12 out of the Eagles, 16 out of Brandon Aubrey, that's 28. 46 for Lamar, 48 and 26. Guys, that's 74 points. 74 points from 3 guys. Defense, kicker, quarterback. That's a difference maker. And even on draft day, you don't have to spend a lot on that quarter. Sometimes you do have to spend a lot on that quarterback. But I mean, just in general sense, when you 25, say your quarterback's getting you 25, but on most days, your kicker is going to get you 10 points. Your defense should get you 10 points. That right there alone is 45 points before you even go into your running backs. They're more reliable than a running back. They're more reliable than a wide receiver. So just kind of crazy. I got some things on my mind that I'm looking at and I'm thinking about for the draft. I got to reinvent myself. I heard a good interview from Steve Young talking about Kyle Shanahan and the Niners and just, Kyle Shanahan is going to have to reinvent himself. He reinvented himself when he went from Atlanta to San Fran. The offense struggled this year. The weapons struggled this year. But he's going to have to reinvent himself, but he's an innovative mind. He's a genius like myself. So I got to reinvent myself, and I think I'm already on the right path. But this isn't about me because I'm not in the playoffs. But, so Landon puts up 158 points. Man. And then you look at Mason's team. I mean, Mason pulled all the right strings. I mean, the guy scored 150 points. He scored more than everybody else this week, except for the one person he had to outscore. That's Landon. Let's look at him. He got 23 points from Joe Burrow. I'll tell you what, that touchdown that the Bengals defense had 21 points. Awesome game. Awesome game for Mason's defense. That touchdown, I think there was a stat correction too for you, Landon, because I believe you jumped up a point. So you did have like 156, but now you have 157.98. But anyways, so the Bengals had that touchdown, and the Jacobs fumble, whatever. This is where it really hurts. So the Bengals, they fumble and it goes out the back of the end zone for a touchback, right? That fucks in 2 ways. 1, he doesn't get the 6 points. 2, you almost hope that guy gets tackled before the goal line so Joe Burrow can throw a touchdown. That hurts so much because you're just hoping that either that defense scores there or Joe Burrow gets a chance to throw it in or sneak it in. And he didn't get either of those opportunities. Derrick Henry had a down game. You would think in a game where the Ravens scored 35 points, Derrick Henry would have had 2 touchdowns. Crazy. Derrick Henry cost me in another league where he did absolutely nothing. And you would have thought that he would have had a huge game coming off of a bye week. Joe Mixon, he got banged up. He sprained his ankle. Same thing. You would have thought he had a big game coming off of a bye week. But he was stonewalled against the Dolphins. George Kittle, that's another one too George Kittle looked like he was going to have a huge game after his first half. but then just the second half was just abysmal for the Niners. Whatever. Xavier Worthy scored. Mike Evans is just Mr. Consistent. He's going to get that 1,000 yards this year. You can bet your ass. He's at 749. I think he's going to get it. They got 3 more games left. He's got that. I think he's got that shit. AJ Brown had a great game. Him and Devontae Smith had 18.5 apiece. Josh Jacobs fumbled. That was a game I thought they would have ran the ball. They could not run the ball in the second half. Josh Jacobs had 74 yards at halftime. He finished the game with 94 yards total. And he had 4 catches, 42 yards. The fumble, he would have had 2 more points. But really, really weird to see him just stymie like that in the second half. And then Jake Moody had 9 points, solid game for the kicker. But yeah, it's crazy. I thought for sure, Mason's receivers would be his downfall, and they weren't. It was his running backs. And, we're just throwing this out there, but it's towards the end of the year. It's guys that get high volume, and they're both older. Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon. While they carried you to get you to this point, does the age and the wear and tear have something to do with the slowing down? I mean, you look at Joe Mixon, 2 out of his last 3 games have been below 6 points. Derrick Henry's got back-to-back games with under 100 yards. He's definitely slowed down. He hasn't had a 20-point game since week 9. In the beginning of the season, he came out hot. He was putting up 30 bombs, 20 bombs. Yeah, I said that. I said your running backs aren't touching his. In all reality, they weren't. Your running backs combined for 20 points. He had 3 of them. I mean, his two dogs had 23, 24, at 24 points, and Joe Mixon has 29. And what happened was his quarterback wasn't touching yours, and his kicker wasn't touching yours. That was the difference in the game. Obviously, the scoring difference in the quarterbacks was 24 points. So, shout out to Mason for having a great year. Maybe y'all will listen when I try saying, hey, you know what? We should find a way for the number. Well, Mason, you weren't the 1 seed, so it doesn't really matter for you. But in general, I want to reward the 1 seed at minimum. I want to find a way to reward the 1 seed, maybe the 2 seed too. Give 2 buys. I don't know. I mean, Mason was a wild card, so whatever. Anyways, moving on. The next game was a game that wasn't a game. The writing was on the wall for this one. He acted. It was a major upset. Yes, on paper, it was a major upset. Next game is Shane versus Dan. Dan didn't belong in the playoffs. Let's be honest here. He fucking sold. His teams had some good weeks. Nick Westbrook-Akine was scoring touchdowns like prime Calvin Johnson. And we all knew that he's not prime Calvin Johnson. So that came to a quick halt. We all know Geno Smith is Geno Smith. I know he got hurt, but it wouldn't have mattered. He got the Gus bus. This was a long time coming. Jayden Reed, I heard a fun stat with Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed hasn't had more than 35 receiving yards since week 9 against Detroit. Jayden Reed's got 200-yard games this year. I think Jayden Reed stinks. Jayden Reed is Deebo Samuel light. He's Deebo Samuel light. He's Green Bay Deebo. He's the Northern Deebo. Stinks. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, Dan, shout out to you. You made it this far. You made it this far despite selling. You won some games in the end, even though you sold. Great job. Good season. You got a nice core of keepers with Kyron, Tyrone Tracy, maybe Jayden Reed. I like JSN. Broncos defense. Don't even sit here and try and tell me that Kyle Pitts is a keeper, that Geno Smith is a keeper, because they're not. I'd rather keep Bryce Young than Geno Smith. That's facts. I'm sorry. Geno Smith is who he is. At least Bryce Young is going this way. Geno Smith is going this way, both in performance and age. And then Dan wants to cry that, oh my God, I'm so mad I forgot to start Aaron Rodgers. Why? So you could lose by 20 instead of 50? Come on. Who cares? You lost. You sold. You didn't belong here. It's like if I made the playoffs. If I made the playoffs, I would have been the 8th seed. I would have been fucking dog walked by Tanner. I didn't belong there. It's cool to be here. Don't belong. Shane's team, 48 points from Josh Allen. He's on an absolute heater. He's killing it right now. Chase Brown with 23 points. Another one has been, I think he's actually been RB1 since he took over that backfield. Yeah, he's been putting on fucking monster numbers. Chuba Hubbard had a down week. Tyreek Hill had a down week. Drake London found the end zone. Yeah, he found the end zone. Puka with a good game. James Conner. I'll tell you what. We shit on James Conner a lot. He was healthy all year this year, and he is putting out. He's got 1, 2, 3 20-plus point games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 double-digit games for James Conner. He's RB10. I mean, he's doing excellent. So good for him. Chase Brown's up to RB12. Oh, he's gonna start costing Shane some more money. Biggest thing for Shane is tight end and defense. Probably kicker, but kicker is whatever. You just got to find an offense. But definitely defense, definitely tight end, and there's not much out there. So yeah, it looks like Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman, both of those guys can be dropped. They're bums. Lions defense with -10. Never seen that before in this league. A defense get -10. That's special. I don't know if Tyreek's gonna burn him. I mean, Tyreek's got San Fran, then Cleveland. If he can make it to Week 17 against Cleveland, I feel pretty good about that. The only thing about that Cleveland game I would be concerned about is the weather, because the Dolphins are softer than baby shit, and they can't play in the cold. I would be concerned about that one. Who does Michael Pittman play Week 17? The Giants. You know what, Shane? Don't get rid of Tyreek, or don't get rid of Pittman. Hold on to Pittman. I would hold on to him. You might have to start him against the Giants. That might not be bad. So yeah, Shane wins 137-80. Dan, thanks for coming out. And then the two last games here. Both of these games were decided by around 4 to 5 points. We'll go with Joe and Griffin. They get the win 115-111 over Mike. And man, what an unfortunate series of events from the whole weekend for Mike. I mean, Jonathan Taylor fumbles at the goal line with a walk-in touchdown, 6 points. Instead, he loses. It's an 8-point swing, essentially, because it's -2 and he doesn't get the 6. It's an 8-point swing. Right there, that alone, touchdown. He wins him the game. Justin Jefferson dropping that touchdown pass. Again, that cost not only Mike, that cost Logan in the other game. The sure-handed Justin Jefferson with an easy drop cost him. DeAndre Swift had one called back because of an illegal formation or whatever. And then Amari Cooper, 0 points in the game where the Bills scored like fucking 50. 0 targets. 0 targets. Last week he had 14. 0 targets? How the hell does that happen? But it's weird because he only played 46% of the snaps, which is really weird. And Josh Allen threw the ball 34 times. I told Mike, performances like that puts you on the do not ever have them on your team list. Amari Cooper, Mike should never even fucking mutter his name, should never think about trading for him, drafting him. If he's a free agent, you don't even pick him up, even if he's free. That's the type of damage that he did to Mike. So, just just unfortunate for Mike that happened to him. And then for Joe and Griff, this has been them all year. A lot of lucky breaks. No, their scoring wasn't huge, but they just find a way to win. Romeo Dobbs scored a touchdown with like no time left. That game was over. He had no business catching a touchdown there. He had 3 catches on 5 or 3 catches on 5 targets, 2 touchdowns. I mean, talk about lucky. Alvin Kamara did some work before he got knocked out of the game. Jerry Jeudy had a solid game. Ladd McConkey, solid game. Just some solid. But here's the thing for Joe going forward. We'll get into a preview for the next week's games. Joey's going to get the Dan treatment this week. So Joey, but hey, like you said with that GIF, so you're saying I'm winning money no matter what. So let's see here. Joe and Griff win 115-111. Then the last game, we were all rooting for it. Somewhat, I had changed. I don't really care. I'm just here to have some fun. An upset would have been awesome to see a 1 get beat by an 8. We should have known better. Tanner's had that luck all year long. We should have known he was going to get it again. It doesn't run out. I mean, between him and Landon, Landon, I know you don't really gamble no more, except for fantasy. But if you two fucking went to a casino, I think you and Tanner would fucking clean them out between you two. I mean, goddamn, you two would just go to a fucking roulette table, and you could just pull a number out of a hat, and it's going to hit at this rate between you two fuckers. So, Tanner wins 116-112. Logan was like a 74% chance win probability. No, ain't nothing lucky about the 157. What is lucky is the Bengals fumbling at the fucking goal line like that. And the Jacobs fumble coupled in with that. You got some breaks. And your lucky Pizzo didn't fucking beat you week 15. Or no, not week 15, week 13. There's a lot of luck that came into it. We can go all the way back to week 3 when fucking Jaden Daniels hit Terry McLaurin on a Hail Mary. But hey, that's part of it. But anyways, so Logan comes in like 74% chance win probability to win this game. But he had Sam Darnold, Tucker Kraft, and the Vikings defense, or Sam Darnold, DJ Moore, Vikings defense heading into Monday night, feeling real nicey. He is not feeling nicey today. James Cook had a monster game, 20 points, but Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold, playing a shitty Bears team. He didn't really need to do much. He did throw the ball 40 times, but he didn't really need to do much because it's the Bears. James Cook had a monster game. Rico had another great game. Jameson found the end zone. His team had a solid outing. Nothing he could have did different to make his team win. Like, even if he started CJ Stroud, he still would have lost. So no difference there. He should have traded me for Josh Allen, but he didn't. But then, you look at Tanner. Tanner got let down by Saquon, got big let down by Debo, but Debo's let down every week. But boy, did Devontae Adams show up for him this week. 35 points. This game wouldn't even have been a game if he had gotten those 2 extra yards. He would have got that 10-point bonus, and he was about to find the end zone there. I mean, gosh, Devontae's on a tear right now. Jamar Chase had a solid game. Breece Hall found the end zone. Jalen Hurts had a big game. Nothing Tanner could have really done different. I mean, he could start the Bucs defense against the Chargers, but Tanner wins. He's been finding ways to win all year. That's why he's the 1 seed. And Logan, thanks for coming out. It was a good effort. You sold. You almost won. But hey, so a little fun fact for the playoffs is every single wild card team was eliminated. All division winners won their first round matchup. So no wild card winners. Pretty fun. So with that being said, let's go look at the matchups for this week. This is what I want to see right here. No easy pass for Landon. No easy pass. He's got a tough one in Tanner this week. He's got a tough one. Tanner opened up as a 14-point favorite, it looks like. Tanner's projected to win 128 to 115. And if we look back during the season, they did have a previous matchup, week 11. Tanner won 134 to 93. So let's look at the matchups. Let's look and see what we got. We got Jalen Hurts playing against Washington. I love that matchup. Love that matchup. That means Saquon is also playing against Washington. Love that matchup. Breece Hall against the Rams. Devontae Adams against the Rams. I like that matchup a lot for both of them. Deebo Samuel against Miami. I don't like that at all. I think they're going to continue to try to get him the ball. Maybe if he can just hold on to the ball, he could find the end zone. But I have zero faith in Deebo at this point. And Tanner doesn't really have many other options to put in for him. So he's going to be riding that out and just hoping that he figures it the fuck out. Cade Otton against Dallas. I like that. Jamar Chase against Cleveland. Cleveland's pass defense has been getting torched lately. Zay Flowers against Pittsburgh could be a nice little weapon there in the flex, considering that Landon has Lamar. Cardinals defense against Carolina should be a solid one, or the Bucs defense against Dallas. Carolina's offense is not that bad anymore. I mean, they're respectable. They're not making dumb mistakes. So I don't know if that's a huge game for the Cardinals there. And then Jake Bates on Detroit against Chicago. Then we look at, so Tanner's projected for 128, which is his team, those starters right there, that average is 127, so that's right on par. Lamar Jackson's projected for 30 against Pittsburgh. I think that's a lot of points. Again, you have to think about the weather playing. They're playing at home in Baltimore, so we'll have to see what the weather is this weekend. But I think 30 points is a lot in a divisional game against Pittsburgh. 30 is a lot, and that's a tough matchup. Tony Pollard against Indy. That's we'll see about that. The game flow will dictate how Tony Pollard does there. Rachaad White against Dallas, projected for 10 points. That's about right. That's him every week. Terry against Philly is projected for 10. That's going to be a tough matchup. Philly's defense is humming right now. They're playing really good defense. So we'll see what they do there. Because, I mean, really, when you look at Washington, they do not use any other wide receivers. So you just shut Terry down and you're going to have a good chance. Malik Neighbors against Atlanta. That's a good matchup, but their quarterback is Tim Boyle, so fucking who knows. Devontae Smith against Washington, which same can be said about Zay Flowers and Lamar, is he's got Devontae Smith to negate Jalen Hurts. So Tanner will obviously be hoping that it's a big A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley game. Mark Andrews, again, tough matchup against the Steelers. You know, their linebacking group is phenomenal. Travis Etienne against Vegas. You know, we saw this past week Travis Etienne get a majority of the carries. The week before, Bigsby, backfield is a fucking disaster. However, Bijan just ran all over Las Vegas. So we know that Landon will be hoping that Etienne can find some ground and catch a big game. It looks like Marvin Harrison has found his way to the bench, but I'm sure Landon will be thinking and considering and asking people, do I go Travis Etienne at flex or do I go Marvin Harrison at the flex this week? Eagles defense against Washington. That's an interesting one because it's at Washington. Again, weather you have to consider. Washington can put up a lot of points and a lot of yards. I don't know, what their point totals are this year. So let's see here. 20, 21, 38, 42, 34, 23, 40, 18. Yeah, I mean, they've only scored less than 20 points one time. Washington's fucking good. That offense is really good. So I don't know. I don't know what defenses are out there that are going to be any better than the Eagles. They're going to get some sacks. You know that. They're flying around. So this is going to be a good game. Tanner's projected to win. I think Tanner will pull out the win. Sorry, Landon. some of these matchups, and you got to go with the bigger names. So I think Tanner does win this game. And then our next game is going to be, where is it? Shane versus Joe and Griff. Like I said, I think Shane is playing belt to ass here. Shane's Kamara, I don't think is going to play. Left with a groin injury. Oh, an adductor injury, so groin. All my Twitter doctors are saying he's most likely going to miss this game and likely the following game. They think with a groin injury, especially this late in the season. Jordan Love is playing New Orleans. New Orleans is playing tough defense. Josh Allen is playing New England. Oh boy. Josh Allen's weatherproof too because he runs the ball so well. And that offense this year is so dialed into game plan. They don't force feed any one player. We saw it against the Niners. If the weather's shitty in Buffalo, they're gonna utilize their running backs. They're gonna utilize short passes, screens, run in the design run game. Bijan plays the Giants, which on paper looks really good. But again, the Ravens just shut down the run game. Giants just shut down the Ravens run game, so that'll be interesting right there. The Giants could win that game. They don't want to, but they could win that game because Kirk Cousins sucks. Chase Brown's playing Cleveland, projected for 16. Chuba's playing Arizona. They can get ran on, 14.4 projection. Like I said, I think Kamara's going to be out. And if Kamara's out, he's starting either Jaleel McLaughlin or Kareem Hunt. So McLaughlin plays the Chargers. He's questionable, and Kareem Hunt plays Houston. You probably got to go Kareem Hunt, I imagine. He got some good work this past week. If Mahomes misses a game, they're going to be running the shit out of the ball. Tyreek's playing San Fran. San Fran's defense actually looked solid last week, except for in the run game. Ladd McConkey against Denver. That's a really tough matchup. Romeo Doubs, I don't think is very good, but Drake London against the Giants, I'm taking that all day. Puka Nacua against the Jets, who we just saw Brian Thomas shred. DeAndre Hopkins against Houston. They've got an excellent secondary. Stingley and who's the other kid there that's playing really well? Not Petrie. Lassiter. Kamar Lassiter playing great defense out wide. Again, Juwan Johnson's projected for 5. He's like the only decent receiving threat there, but they suck. So we'll see what Shane does at tight end. James Conner's projected for 18 against Carolina. Holy moly! Let's see. Joe's got Isaiah Likely in the flex or in the tight end spot. Jerry Jeudy in the flex. Jerry Jeudy's projected for 10 against Cincy. I know Cincy's defense sucks. Cincy does generate turnovers, and they do get pressure on the quarterback. They do get gashed for big gains. It would be interesting to see. I don't like Jerry Jeudy nearly as much without Jameis Winston. Colts defense against Tennessee, I do like that a lot. Shane's got the Lions defense against Chicago. Against Chicago, the Lions are injured as shit. They got 16 defenders out injured right now. But Caleb Williams doesn't throw interceptions, but he takes a gazillion sacks because he doesn't let it rip. So you got a safe floor with sacks there, but I think Chicago can score points on the Lions defense. So I'm a little iffy on the Lions defense. And then Bucker against Houston. But at the end of the day, Shane's going to win this game, especially if Kamara is out. Kamara's out, Joe has no chance. So yeah, that's my predictions for the playoffs. I think we're looking at a Tanner versus Shane Super Bowl championship. Shane looking to get his name on there for the first time. We got Shane, Tanner, Joe, and Landon. 2 of those guys have their name on the trophy. 2 of those guys don't. I think we're gonna, like I said, I think we'll see Shane and Tanner in the championship, and that'll be an excellent matchup if that's the case. So, We got games Thursday this week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, lots of games. We'll see what happens on the waiver wire here at noon. We got some guys that need some things here. So, all right, what an exciting weekend! That was the best first round ever. I think just it was so up and down. It looked like so and so was going to win by a million, and then the grid. Like I thought Mason was fucking toast, but then he wasn't, and then he was, and then he wasn't again. Then I thought he was going to win. I know Landon, same thing. Landon had to be sweating his ass off watching that game, seeing fucking Jacobs come out of the gate at halftime, rip off 74 yards and a tutty by halftime. I would have been shitting my pants. Even Shane was texting me worried. I'm like, bro, you don't need to worry. You got Josh fucking Allen. Like, come on. There's never look at Dan's team, look at your team. There's never a doubt. So, looking forward to these matchups this weekend. We got 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. So it's everything you hope for in terms of matchups. The best teams are the best teams are the last teams left. So, all right, everyone, have a great day, and we'll talk soon.